Hello, this is the fifth tutorial in this series, and today we're going to learn how to build a sliding doors to the exterior, to the balcony. We're going to build a basic balcony with railing outside, glass railing, and we're going to fix the thickness of the windows, a thing which I forgot to do in the previous window tutorial, so I'm sorry. And let's get started. Let's start with the windows. The window thickness, as you can see in the top viewport, let me just unselect the region, fine. The thickness of the window is very thin. If I put the plan back, unhide the plan, you can see that the window, the yellow lines represent the window, is much thicker than the window which we created. That's because I didn't take into account the thickness of the window when I was building it. Because I need to change the thickness in the plan itself. So now let's change the thickness. The first thing I want to change is the thickness of the frame. So I'm going to choose the whole window, editable poly, and I'm going to choose elements. Now I'm going to choose the elements of the frame only. I'm going to detach them. Now I'm going to choose the frame and make it wider. I'm going to make it bigger on the x-axis to fit, just about fit the yellow lines that represent the window in the plan. So something like this is fine. Now our frame is thick enough. Now we need to adjust the windows. I'm going to delete one of them, one of the windows, because I'm going to duplicate it, this one to this side again after I make it thicker. And now I'm going to choose this window frame and this glass, and I'm going to detach it. Now we have a frame with glass. I'm going to make the frame with glass thicker. Move it on just about here. Make it thicker. Something like this. So it would be proportionate to the window itself. Maybe just a little bit more. Something like this. Alright, as you can see, the yellow line here and here represents the first window, so I'm going to make it something like this big, yay big. Alright, now we have the window and the frame thickness right. I'm going to move this opening device backwards. I can't see the gizmo of the opening device, and that's because the gizmo is up here. Because when I detached the whole window and left only this, the gizmo that was left with it is the gizmo from the whole window. To center the gizmo to the object, what I do is go to here, hierarchy, effect pivot only, and center to object, and deselect the effect pivot only. Now the pivot is centered to the object I'm using. I'm going to take it back so it touches the window like so, and I'm going to copy this, shift drag it here. Let's hide the plan now. I'm going to choose the window I just copied and move it backwards on the other rail. As you can see, we have two rails here. I'm going to put it on the backwards rail. Let's see this in the perspective viewport. I'm going to move the window till it touches the window. Again, I want to center the gizmo to the window, so effect pivot only, center. I'm going to move it till it touches the window like so, and I'm going to copy this object here to the other side, shift drag here, perspective viewport. I'm going to move it backwards a little bit like so. Alright, after we fix the thickness of the window, we're going to combine all of the elements to one editable poly again. So I'm going to do attach this window, attach this opening device and this opening device. Now if I move them all together, I can see that they're attached to one another. Alright, so we have a thick window. If I render this window now, let's render only the window, I would see that the thickness is much better than it was before. It has depth now. So this is great. The window is fixed. I'm going to delete this one and copy this one to the other one. Alright. So we have two windows now. We want to create a sliding door here that is in the same family of modeling as this window. So I'm going to copy this window. I'm going to shift rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to put it at the opening, the top viewport. Just like this. I'm going to make it much bigger to fit the opening. Going to move this center to the center, almost the center, and in the front viewport I'm going to make it big enough to touch the floor, so something like this. Alright, now you can see that what I did is take this window and just copy it and scale it up to fit this opening. Now if I look at this, I need to make the bottom sliding lines almost same height as the floor, because if I don't, I'm gonna just bump it with my legs. So let's make it almost touch the floor. That's fine. Now the opening handles need to be at a height that I can open it with my hands. So I'm going to choose this one and this one. I'm going to take them down to about 1 meter and 10 centimeters. This line represents 1 meter and 10 centimeters. If you remember the first tutorial, we built this line to represent the bottom of the window, and the bottom of the window was 1 meter and 10 centimeters. So if I center it, the opening mechanism to the center of this line, this would be at 1 meter 10 centimeters. Alright, so now I have a balcony opening with a door, glass sliding door. Let me just check if in the plan there were 2 separators, not 3. You can't see in the plan if it's 2 doors or 3 doors here. So what we're going to do is measure this. If I take a box and build it, and I will measure the width of each door, I will get 1 meter and 4 centimeters. This door is a little bit too big. If I measure the whole opening, it's 2 meters. So if I make 3 doors, let me open the calculator, 2 meters divided by 3 doors, each door will be 66 centimeters, which is fine. It's not too small and not too big, but 1 meter, you know what, let's leave the doors as is, because there are doors in existence that are meter width, so let's leave it at that. I'm going to open just a little bit one of the doors. I'm going to deselect this opening mechanism, and I'm going to select this door, and just slide them to the right a little bit, so that the balcony door will be a little bit open. Alright, now we have in the scene 2 windows, 1 sliding door that goes to the balcony. Let's try rendering out only the balcony sliding door region and see if everything with the colors and everything else is fine here. As you can see, the metal is a little bit dotted. There are many dots here. This is because the subdivision of the reflection is not high enough. So we're gonna fix this in a minute. You can see the light goes through here, but in the areas where we have glass, no sunlight goes through. To fix this, I'm going to go to the glass material and change one parameter. It's not a big deal. I'm going to show you in a second. So this is fine. We have aluminum frames and glass doors. Now, to fix the light issue that we have here, that the sunlight doesn't shine through, what we need to do is go into the glass material, which is, if I'm not mistaken, here we go, the glass material. In order to be sure, I'm going to material, select by material, material, pick from object, and I'm going to pick from this object. So this hierarchy of materials is all the materials we have in this sliding door and in these windows. Now let's choose the glass and make a new instance out of it. And what we need to change in order to the sunlight to go through the glass is this, affect shadows. When you don't click this, all the shadows that shine through affected by the sun don't shine through the glass. So I need to click this, and if I render it now, you can see that the direct sunlight does shine through the glass and make the sun effect on the floor, which is how it behaves in real life. You can see the sunlight shining through here and through the windows. This is great. Alright, let's fix the dottiness here. Let's go inside the aluminium material, which is this one, brushed aluminium, which we created in the previous tutorial. And we can see the subdivision set to 16. It's not low, but as you can see, it's not enough. So let's up it to 32 and try rendering just a small region of the aluminium. So let's put it here and try rendering it. As you can see, it's better. This area here is much better than this dotted area here. This is because we have 32 subdivisions in the reflection of the aluminium. Now, if this is not enough and you still have dottiness in your rendering, after you up this to 32, don't keep upping it more than 32, because more than 32 will just eat up your system's memory, and this is not the good solution. What you need to do if you have too many dots in the scene is go to rendering settings, and noise threshold down this value. The template of this value is 0.01. What you need to do is down it to 0.05. Then the dottiness in the scene is supposed to disappear. If you still have dottiness, down this just a little bit more to 0.003, but no less than 0.002. Now I should mention that when you change this value and go down with this value, the rendering times are dramatically longer than they are when you stick with the 0.01 value. So the best course of action is to change the subdivision of the shadows here on the reflection to 32, and only then, when you have too much dottiness and too much dots in your scene, down this value. So don't make this value any smaller unless you have to, because the rendering time will jump dramatically. Alright, so now, after we created this door, a glass sliding door, and we created the windows, let's create the balcony. I'm not going to use the plan for this because we have no balcony in the plan. I'm just working from my imagination. If you have a complete plan with a balcony, build it from the plan. I'm going to build it from my imagination. So I'm going to create a plane that represents the floor of the balcony. I'm going to make the balcony something like 3 meters over 2 meters. No, over 150. So 1.5 meters over 3 meters. This is going to be my balcony. It's a very small balcony for a bedroom, so it's supposed to be small, just to see the view. Now I'm going to move this using the snap toggle tool. I'm going to move it on the y-axis only to snap to this grid, which is the exterior point of my door. Now I'm going to go to the front viewport and align it exactly to the floor. I'm going to take it on the y-axis and snap it here. Now I'm going to deselect the snap toggle. In the camera you can see the floor of my balcony, which is good. Now I'm going to build the railing for this balcony opening. In order to do this, I will build a box here. We'll use the snap toggle tool and build a box here to here. I will give it a height of 20 centimeters and a length, which is the thickness, of 20 also. I'm going to move this on the y-axis to touch this. You know what, not 20 length, 10 length is fine. Now, why am I doing this? This thing, maybe 15 centimeters, represents the concrete that the railing sits on. A rail rarely sits on the level of the floor. It sits on some kind of concrete box that is maybe 15 or 10 centimeters from the floor. So let's make it 10, less visible. I'm going to convert it to editable poly. I'm going to take this polygon and this polygon, extrude them by 10. So this is a box. Right, okay. Now I'm going to choose this polygon and this polygon, and I'm going to extrude them. It doesn't matter which length. I'm going to take them on the y-axis and snap them here. So now if we look at the balcony, we have a floor and a concrete railing of 15 centimeters. Alright, next step is building the glass railing. I'm going to create for this purpose a line in about the center. I'm going to disable the snap toggle tool. I'm going to build a line here, one. With holding the shift, the line goes 90 degrees. It doesn't go like this, it goes only on straight lines. So I'm holding the shift, click, again, and again. Now we have a line going through the concrete. I'm going to up it here, and I'm going to render it with enable render and enable in viewport, and now I'm going to use the rectangular shape. The height of this glass railing is about 1 meter, so I'm going to make the length 100 centimeters. I'm going to take it up so it touches the ground like so. And we have our glass railing, as you can see here. Now the next thing I want to do is create the aluminium railing on top of this. So I'm going to copy it, shift drag up. I'm going to give it a radial option. I'm going to make the radial option thickness more thick, maybe 2 centimeters. And the glass here needs to be much thinner, so the glass is something like 0.5, like this. I'm going to take this railing handle and put it on top here. Front viewport and the left viewport, maybe, yeah. Here we go. Place it up here. Alright, so now we have the glass railing, we have the concrete on the bottom here, and we have the aluminium on the top here. So the glass, let's give it a glass material, just like the windows. The concrete will be white, just like the walls. And this thing on top here, we're going to give it a chrome material, so let's call it chrome. Change this to V-Ray material, and let's give it a color of almost white. Not that it matters, because I'm going to give it a very strong reflective color. Almost 245 is fine. Now as you can see, it's very reflective, very chrome-like, but it's too mirror-like, so I'm going to down the reflection value to 0.98 so that it's not as sharply reflective as a mirror. Maybe 0.95 is better, a little bit blurred out to get the chrome effect. And the subdivision, let's put it at 16, not too much, because the reflection is not very blurred like the reflection of the aluminium here. You don't need to make this subdivision value very high, because it won't make noises or dots like this does. In short, when you down this value, you need to up this value, but not over 32, because your computer will choke. So this is a chrome material. Let's give it chrome material to this line, and let's choose 1, 2, 3 and group them to rail. Let's try rendering this area here, same area. We didn't give a material to the ground, as you can see, so we'll have strange results in the ground. But the aluminium rail seems fine. Let's stop it here. Alright, the material I'm going to give the floor here is the same material as the room. So what I'm going to do is take the floor and attach this floor to the floor I already got. And the UVW map would take care of both of them. So now we have a floor and an exterior floor that flows one to another. Let's try rendering now. Now we have this white spot here at the exterior. What this is, let me stop it for a second. This white spot here that doesn't exist here is essentially, let me show you, is essentially the HDRI map we have in the environment dome. So if you remember from the second tutorial, I applied a V-Ray HDRI map to the environment. Now if I don't click the invisible button, I'm going to see the white environment in the rendering. So this is going to manifest like this, and the white here. I don't want to see this because I'm going to put a background plane in the windows. So what I'm going to do is click the invisible button. Now if I'm here already, I can see the subdivision of the shadows from the HDRI map is very low. It's on 8. So this can cause the dots we talked about before, so I'm going to up the subdivision to 16. And the HDRI map resolution is very low, so I'm going to up it to 124. Now this is supposed to give me a little bit better results and less dots like you see here. Alright, let's try rendering this. As you can see, no white strange reflections in the windows. If I render this part, you will see this will be black too. The black will be replaced with a plane with a picture of a view or sea or whatever. Now let's see that the ground is fine and the aluminium here is okay and the chrome here is fine, but this needs to be a little bit thicker. This is very thin. And there are a little dottiness on the reflection of the floor, so I'm going to up the subdivision of the reflection of the parquet floor too. This looks fine. Alright, I'm going to stop this now. And let's look at these reflections. This reflection is a little bit dotted, so I'm going to try to render only one small area here and see if the dots remain. Alright, let's check out the material of the parquet floor, which is this one, wood floor. We're going to go to the reflection, and we will see the subdivision of the reflection is 8. It's very low, that's why we have the dots on the reflection on the floor. So I'm going to up this to 32, which is very high, and see the difference. I hope you can see the difference in the YouTube video, I'm not sure, but there is a huge difference now. If I deselect the region, you can see that this is before and this is after. This is much cleaner shaders, and the 32 subdivision value is much better for this floor. It will be a little bit longer on rendering time, but it's worth it. So let's render the room as is, and we're finished in this tutorial. The next tutorial I will show you how to put a plane in order to fill the background of the image, something like a sea picture at the background, or maybe city or something like that. So enjoy the final results, and I will see you in the next tutorial.